Hello students, I hope you are all fine and in good health. In this audio presentation, I will be discussing the poem A Photograph. It is written by Shale Tolson. So dear students, at first let us come to the introduction part related with this poem. A Photograph by Shale Tolson is a tender yet a jolting piece that revolves around the universal theme of loss and separation. Loss and separation, these are the two most prominent and the two most important theme of this particular poem. An inevitable reality that is a common lot of mankind. Through the stock symbol of a photograph, evoked in many literary pieces to denote nostalgia and remembrance, the poet articulates the void she feels upon having made uncomfortable peace with her mother's death. Now, it is something that is very important for us to know that in this poem we find the poet is lamenting the death of her mother who died almost 12 years back, and she not only that, she is suffering a lot, and she already made an uncomfortable peace in her own mind related to her mother's demise or death. The poem is tender because of the heart touching manner in which it has expressed nostalgia born of loss to the passage of time and the final rest. The jolting attribute comes from the harsh message it sends across about how humans can never be entirely adept at accepting irreversible separation from a loved one. We all know that death is a natural phenomenon, it will happen to every one of us, but it becomes very difficult for us to endure, or rather to entirely adapt ourselves after losing someone who is very close to us. And though we know that death is a natural phenomenon and it will happen to every one of us, but still it becomes very difficult when we lose someone very close to us. Now, dear students, let us come to the explanation part. Now, let us come to the first four lines. The cardboard shows me how it was when the two girl cousins went paddling, each one holding one of my mother's hands, and she, the big girl, some 12 years or so. Now, the cardboard here refers to the thick, stiff photo paper used in the pre-digital photography era, because now we don't use it, but previously we used to use it during the pre-digital photography era to develop prints, and also not only that, but the most important thing is to store memories. It is interesting to note that instead of writing about memories about her mother directly, the poet takes help of the prop of a photograph to convey to the readers that she is remembering or reminiscing about her mother. Reminiscing in itself is a rather abstract nostalgia influenced act, which the poet has successfully made concrete and empirical by adding to it the specific action of looking at an old photograph of the one she is missing terribly. And obviously, it's an old photograph of the poet's mother, and as you know, she was at that time only 12 years, and they were enjoying a summer holiday near a sea beach, and she was holding the hands of two girl cousins. As you know, their names Betty and Dolly. Photographs are beautiful aids of nostalgia because each picture, no matter how candid or well framed has a story to tell. That is the reason we sometimes say, dear students, that each picture tells a story. Charlotte Tolson then shares with us the story behind the picture she is holding in her hands, taking us to the time when her deceased mother had gone to the sea beach for some paddling as a young girl in the company of her two younger cousin sisters. And I told you their names, Betty and Dolly. In the picture, the sisters are each holding her mother's hand, she being the eldest among all at about 12 years of age. It might seem that the poet is just mentioning the mother's age in passing. However, the act of picking out a picture from her mother's childhood is a well thought out one. It helps accentuate or escalate or increase the harsh reality of the mother's loss, which is conveyed to us at the end of the poem by contrasting this loss of life with the playfulness of youth. Because in the picture, her mother seems to be very youthful, and her mother seems to be in a playful mood, but in reality she is no more. And it seems that there is a voidness, there is emptiness, as been told to you earlier. After the death of the poet's mother, her world is empty right now. The poet details about how each of the sisters, I told you their names, are holding her mother's hand, even in a photograph from her childhood times. The poet's mother had a protective aura about her. This image helps readers feel the motherly presence that the poet perhaps wished to convey, so that she can make the loss of the same more pronounced at the end of the poem. Taking all of these significations underlying the photograph into account, the opening sentence of the poem carefully sets the mood and tone for the poem and its overarching subject of losing a mother. And that clearly the readers gets well connected to that from the very beginning of the poem. Now I am moving on to some more lines. All three stood still to smile through their hair at the uncle with the camera. A sweet face, my mother's, that was before I was born, and the sea, which appears to have changed less, washed their terribly transient feet. Now this is also very important lines. In the second line, the poet talks in tender details about how the girl's uncle had captured her mother in space and time through a camera at a point when she had a lot of life ahead of her, because she was only 12 at that time, waiting to be lived. The camera then becomes an interesting tool of nostalgia, used to always provide food for fond remembrance by means of pictures. Through their hair is an expression used to denote how the three girls are smiling because they are enjoying a lot. It's a summer holiday for them, and they are enjoying themselves near the sea beach. So I repeat, through their hair is an expression used to denote how the three girls are smiling their wildest smile, a smile so broadly spread across their faces that it seems to reach the strands of hair falling on the sides. She describes her mother's face as one full of sweetness, full of youth, full of vitality, full of energy, instantly drawing tender emotions from the readers due to the beautiful way in which the poet likes to think of her mother from the time when she herself hadn't come into her life. Through the words, here I quote, before I was born, the poet draws a distance between herself and her mother, which in the second sentence isn't a painful one. However, this distance takes on a woeful note once we discover later in the poem that the poet has lost her mother, because at the very end of the poem we get to know about it that the poet ultimately had lost her mother. After appreciating the sweetness that defines her youthful mother's youthful face, Shirley shifts her poetic gaze onto the sea and casually remarks on how the endless water body has not changed much over time. Thus, the sea here symbolizes eternity, against the infinite vastness of which human lives appear even more evanescent in comparison, because human life is temporary, human life is ephemeral. This evanescence of human life is touched upon further when the poet mentions how the sea washed the three sisters' terribly transient feet. The words transient feet exemplify the literary device of a transferred epithet, where a noun is made to take on the attribute of the human the noun is associated to. Over here, the girl's feet are called transient. This is very important, dear students, due to the universal reality that every living soul has a self life with its time cut out on earth, a reality that reduces humans to a transient presence in this world. Transience itself means something that is temporary. Now, let me come to the next line. Some 20-30 years later, she would laugh at the snapshot. See Betty and Dolly, she would say, and look how they dressed us for the beach. The sea holiday was her past. Mine is her laughter. Both wry with the labored ease of loss. Now, in this line, the poet remembers fondly how her mother would laugh at the probably hilarious way in which she and her sisters had been dressed for the beach. Because later, when she herself became a mother, and when she saw this photograph that was taken years earlier, now it was a very hilarious moment for her, looking at her swimming costume as well as the costume of her two girl cousins. This seemingly casual laughter has meaning if we look below the surface. When we grow older and are made to become mature and serious over time, we often outgrow the youthful care that could once be felt towards small little things like the visit to the sea beach, and how even such small events were accompanied with efforts to dress up and look the part. This casual remark of the mother that the poet shares with us emboldens the underlying current of nostalgia over things lost to time that binds the whole poem together. Nostalgia, then loss of separation, loss and separation, these are some of the important themes that revolves around this entire poem. Then the poet draws the contrast between the two past in this poem, flirts between one of the mothers and one of Shirley's. The poet's past was enshrined in the photograph, representing her youthful happy days, while the poet's past comprises a time when she had her mother's laughter that would brighten up the days. Now, it is interesting to note here how both past presented in the poem have laughter and happiness in them, which serves to ratify the theme of loss that is then presented in the next sentence. Both wry means totally depressed, with the labored ease of loss. This is indeed a beautiful choice of words, because if we consider the word labored ease, it is actually an oxymoron that represents the difficulty and struggle one has to go through to arrive at a point where accepting loss and death becomes possible and a part of our daily lives. It is this labored ease that turns even the happiest laughter filled memories wry by tingling them with emotions of loss and pain. Now she has been dead nearly as many years as that girl lived, and of this circumstance there is nothing to say at all. It silences. These are the final lines of the poem. Now let's come to the explanation part. In these sentences, the poet finally reveals that the subject of the photograph she is holding, her mother, has been dead for about 12 years. Dear students, I hope you remember I have mentioned this earlier also in the poem. The same age she was when the photograph has been taken. That is the reason this 12 years plays a very significant part throughout the entire poem, because her mother died, that is the poet's mother died, almost 12 years passed by, and even in the photograph she was at that time 12 years. So this 12 years plays a very important part. This painful universal circumstance of loss to death that all humans invariably experience in their lives has rendered without words the same poet who was so far being so articulate about the smallest of details in the picture. The poet is speechless because once a daughter has lost her mother to death, there is nothing that can be said about a loss so deep, a pain so grave. What this sentence implies is that even the best of poets sometimes fail to give exact expression to such brutal pain because of how deep it goes inside the human psyche or psychology. Its presence too all encompassing and profound and too deep at the same time to be conveyed in words. Sometimes it becomes excruciating, very much painful for even the greatest of the poets to convey it in words, because it seems that the death of her mother created voidness all around. That is the reason the last line is so significant. It silences. Hence, the best way the poet can do justice into this pain is by saying that it silences, meaning it's a loss that sometimes even fails her poetic pen when she tries to write about it. This is because the dictionary probably does not have words enough to lend proper articulation to such pain, and that is the reason it seems to us that she described it, but it seems that she herself was at a loss in order to state her actual pain that she suffered from. And then, like the poet, one has to take resort in nostalgia and fond memories of the past to soothe their hurting self. And the silence makes such nostalgia a habit more than an act of remembering, something that the poet earlier hints at through the words labored ease. Now, dear students, the next important topic that I will be discussing, that is the central idea. Now, central idea, it is nothing but it is the main idea, only with a different name. Now, Charlotte Olson's A Photograph is a tribute to her mother, just like the Portrait of a Lady written by Khushwant Singh was a tribute to his grandmother. Here, Charlotte Olson's A Photograph is a tribute to her mother. The poem describes three stages in the passage of time. In the first stage, the photograph shows the poet's mother standing at the sea beach, enjoying her holiday with her two girl cousins. She was around 12 years old at that time. The second stage takes us 20 or 30 years later, when she is now of her mother's age and her mother is now a housewife. The mother would laugh at the way she and her cousins were dressed up for the beach holiday. And in the third stage, the poet remembers the dead mother with a heavy heart. The photograph revives a nostalgic feeling in the heart of the poet. Finally, thank you, students. Please go through this audio presentation, and if there is any doubt anywhere, let me know about it. Thank you once again, dear students.